Hi, everyone, and welcome to Creative Writing Fall 2026. I wanted to film this to welcome you to the course, to introduce myself to you so you see that there's an actual human being on the other side of the screen, that it's not just random things I'm putting together. And to tell you a little bit about the course, I'm really, really excited about our writing journey together. So my name is Professor Carol Ann Fisher. You can, and I use any pronouns. You can call me Professor Carol Ann, Professor Fisher, just not Carol, not Hey You, not Mrs., things like that. But I'm pretty flexible if you forget. I'll be your instructor of record this semester, of course. And I'm really excited about, like I said, our journey together, and I look forward to learning more about you as we go along. A little bit about me. This is my eighth year, I think. Yeah, eighth year teaching at Jefferson, eighth or ninth. Um, yeah, ninth. Seventh year teaching full time, and then I taught as an adjunct for a couple of years before getting the full time position. Before teaching here full time, my background was in mental health. I worked primarily with children. And really loved it. And I think sometimes the two have blended together really well. I started out as a student at IU Southeast in New Albany, dropped out for a while because life happened, came back here to Jefferson a million years ago. There are several buildings on the downtown campus that did not exist when I was a student here, for example. And then went back to IU Southeast, where I graduated with a master's in English with a concentration in writing, primarily creative writing, but I did a lot of academic writing as well. Then I went to Spalding, where I got my Master of Fine Arts in creative writing. There, my focus was on creative nonfiction and memoir essays, although I also did a lot of coursework in fiction, poetry, dramatic writing, writing for children and young adults, things like that, because it's a really varied master's where they ask you to do some coursework in all genres. But my thesis was creative nonfiction. Um, Right now, I write a lot about trauma, the intersections of personal experience and popular culture. I'm working on my thesis, trying to revamp it. It was a memoir. And I'm also working on a chapbook of short essays based around interactions with otters. They're my favorite animal. I'm a little obsessed. Um, you'll eventually see a lot of otters in the class, but they have kind of like a interesting significance to me and have throughout my entire life. Um, Obviously, I have allergies right now. My voice will not be this hoarse most of the semester. Um, but it happens, I guess. It's that time of year. Um, I'm also doing a lot of academic writing right now. When I'm not teaching, I'm also the president of the Popular Culture in the South organization, and I've done a lot lately. I've done some publications on um, female characters in Supernatural, where I focused on how we privilege which genders have anger, are able to express anger, following a character named Lily Sunder, Supernatural. I also recently published a chapter in this book behind me on queer animation. My chapter was on queer aesthetics in Adventure Time and the Owl House. I wanted Steven Universe, but someone else claimed that one before me, which was really sad. But maybe I'll do my own book and get to talk about Steven. Um, so yeah, I'm a giant nerd. Um, Big into popular culture. Um, Especially, like I said, my favorite TV show is Supernatural. I really like Marvel. I think Sinners is a brilliant movie. Um, the new Spider-Man movie is, not to repeat the word, but brilliant. It is just amazing. I think the movie of the year I've seen so far is oh God, what's the name of it? Project Hail Mary. Sorry. I really loved the interactions between Rocky and Grace. And I really, really enjoyed the fact that it was a practical effect, that Rocky was a puppet, so it felt more real than a lot of CGI. Um, Into horror as well, things like that. Really wanted to like Backrooms, but just didn't, which was really disappointing. Um, but yeah, I was named after Poltergeist, so I think I have to like horror. Um, little bit of, in order to, if you want to contact me, you can look on the syllabus for my contact information. Or if you look about the instructor information, it'll tell you. This semester I'm on the Southwest campus of Jefferson only. Usually I'm between here and downtown, but this semester I'm just Southwest. And I have student hours every day of the week. You can meet with me at any of those times. If those times don't work out, reach out and we'll work out another time. We can meet virtually, we can meet in person. If you are a downtown student, sometimes on Fridays I'll be downtown for meetings, we can meet downtown. But I'm not teaching or dealing with popular culture association stuff. I volunteer once a month at Louisville Youth Group, which is the Louisville organization for LGBTQ plus youth. I live in New Albany with my spouse and our now high schooler, which makes me feel very old because it happens way too fast. And if I'm at home, I'm watching TV. Ted Lasso right now is my happy place. Things like that. But because I'm teaching most of the semester, I'm also on campus dealing with work stuff. So yeah. So creative writing, this course will be divided. We'll start with a unit on creativity, just to kind of unblock ourselves, figuring out what is creative writing. How do we tap into those pieces of inspiration? What do we do if we don't have inspiration and we just feel stuck? Because I can tell you right now, every single writer in existence has had writer's block. And if they tell you they haven't, they're lying. And if they are a writer that never has writer's block, then I hate them. So yeah, there's that much. Not really. I just envy them a lot. There is a textbook for the course. It's Crossroads, Creative Writing Exercises in 4 Genres. When I picked this book, I did not realize how expensive it was in the bookstore. I have found this book, it's by Diane Thiel. I found this because I have her Crossroads writing in creative nonfiction, writing and poetry that I found at half price books for like $6. And I really love those books. Got this one that talks about all the genres. And really loved it. So if you can find it online somewhere else cheaper, please do. The edition doesn't matter to me. We'll need the book the second week of class, so that way you have a little bit of time to find a copy. Because textbooks are really expensive and they shouldn't be. So I chose this one because I thought it would be cheaper. So I apologize for the expensive book, but it is a good book and it is worthwhile and it's worth using. So yeah, we will start, like I said, with a unit on creativity. Then we'll talk about fiction, poetry, and we'll end the semester on creative nonfiction. I intentionally leave that one last because, first of all, it kind of relies on bits and pieces of fiction and poetry techniques to make really good memoir writing, but also because by then we know each other and we're a little bit more comfortable. You'll have weekly assignments. You'll have a weekly module with lecture videos, readings, assignments. Some of the readings will be from the textbook. Some of the readings will be pieces of fiction, nonfiction, poetry that I find online that I really like. I'm hoping to bring in writers of each of those genres to talk to us. And those will be probably held on Fridays. And if you're not able to make those chats, then they will be recorded. I'm just waiting to hear back from some writers. It didn't work out last time I taught this course, but I'm really hoping it will this time. All videos will have transcripts and captions. Then there'll be a writing exercise. There may be something you submit, and there'll probably be a discussion board where we'll have weekly mini workshops. And then you'll have a major piece of writing in each of the genres. So you'll have a major piece of fiction, a major piece of poetry, a major piece of creative nonfiction. And these are pieces that you'll workshop before you turn them in. And then at the end of the semester, you'll create a writing portfolio that talks about your writing journey, your experiences, things like that. My goal here is not to have perfect writers because I don't think there is a perfect writer. When we talk about revision, I'll bring in a chapter from Stephen King's book on writing where, I mean, the man makes a living from writing. So he's one of the few people that actually is well off just from writing books, which is pretty unheard of right now, unfortunately. But he, in that book, there's one of his chapters on revision, he has a rough draft of one of his stories, and it's not great. So if you're in this class and you're like, I've never creatively written before and I want to, you're not alone. I'll bring in some of my drafts that are not great too. I have, because of teaching and parenting and all of these things, I haven't written as much creatively as I would have liked to. So my goal is to write along with you all every week. Um, and that may mean that y'all are gonna be reading some really awful rough drafts from me, and that is fine. Just like it's fine to read them from you. The only types of drafts that you will ever get zeros on are if they're plagiarized. Um, if you can see behind me, there's lots of things I like. There's some carvings of, or little ceramic things that are based on supernatural characters. There's a pencil, there's a book. There's also a baby Yoda or Grogu. And I had a student one semester who turned in a short story that was basically the first episode of The Mandalorian. Don't do that. Don't use generative AI, because the important part about writing is I want to hear your voice. I don't want to hear a computer voice. If I wanted that, I would just use generative AI and type, tell me a story about this. I don't want that. Also, environmental costs, things like that. Ethics of stealing from writers, all of those things. So please don't use generative AI. Spell check is fine. But yeah, I know we're online. I don't want you to think that means that you're bothering me if you reach out. Please reach out. I'm always here. It may take a little bit of time to respond sometimes, depending on when I'm teaching and all of those things. What's going on with my kid. Um, but I will respond. My office hours, like I said, student hours are open to you all, not just my in-person students. Um, if it's a day that I'm not on campus and you don't live near either campus, we can meet halfway at a coffee shop sometimes. Um, just please reach out. I'm here, whether it's coursework or other things. And I really look forward to our semester together. If you have any questions about anything, please, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out. And happy writing. Like I said, I'm really excited for our time together. Bye.